Hey guys, what is going on? This is Wrestlelamia back with another episode. The news never stops and neither does Wrestlelamia. Join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at the wildest wrestling news and stories you need to know, including Impact's WWE invasion, Roman Reigns is ripped, Lance Storm is out of work, was Jim Ross fired for being ugly, and more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos. Slammiversary sees mini WWE invasion. This year's Slammiversary pay-per-view saw a number of recently released WWE superstars show up, some of whom are no strangers to Impact Wrestling either. As expected, the Good Brothers showed up, but the program also featured Eric Young competing in the Impact World Championship match, an appearance by Heath Slater, and a video segment featuring EC3. Former NXT performer Deonna Purrazzo won the Knockouts Championship at Slammiversary after debuting in Impact last June, rounding out the fresh infusion of talent to the promotion. Whether or not Impact brings in more former WWE stars remains to be seen. King Corbin talks the Randy Orton test. King Corbin is known as one of wrestling's best workers in that he can make his attacks look devastating to an audience while his opponent feels nothing. However, this didn't happen overnight, and the former Golden Gloves boxer talked to Busted Open Radio about the standards he and his fellow performers set for themselves during their time in NXT. In NXT, it was the thing, you would work with Randy Orton that way? We always make fun of Randy because he doesn't want anyone to hurt him. In NXT, if you did something, it was like, would you do that to Randy Orton? Would you do that to John Cena? I want those guys beating on Vince's door and going, I want to work with this kid because he looks like he's murdering people and he's not. He's taking care of people. King Corbin is one of the best when it comes to protecting his opponents, something wrestlers such as Nia Jax could learn a lot from. Mike Bennett's amazing story. Fans may recall hearing how Mike Bennett, aka Mike Kanellis, entered rehab after signing with the WWE. However, Bennett wanted to clarify what actually happened and revealed on Twitter, I never went to rehab. My wife was my rehab. I recovered on the road. They never paid for my rehab, and they also never reached out to me once. Not a single person in management ever contacted me to see if I needed help or if I was doing okay in my recovery. All credit goes to my wife. Mike and his wife Maria Kanellis have stated on social media that they are trying to refute the many rumors about their WWE status, such as allegations Maria re-signed with the company when she knew she was pregnant. She claims that's not true. Lance Storm fired, Chris Jericho calls out WWE. Lance Storm has been in the wrestling business for decades and recently shut down his wrestling school to go to work backstage for the WWE. However, Storm was one of many people released or furloughed, and now it appears he's out of a job. Storm tweeted, "For what it's worth, I'm now officially unemployed. First time since I left SMW in November 1994. Hashtag future endeavors." Lance's Thrill Seekers tag partner Chris Jericho called out Vince McMahon and the WWE on Twitter, with Le Champion stating, "In this biz, that's a hell of a run. Now WWE and Vince McMahon need to pull their heads out of their collective asses and rehire you. Hashtag Lance is a genius." Short of misconduct on Storm's part, this is a horrible move by the WWE considering all Storm did to go to work for them. As many fans have noted, maybe AEW can find work for Storm. Considering his resume, Storm should have no problem bouncing back. Jim Ross shoots on Vince McMahon firing him for being too ugly. Despite providing the WWE with the best commentary the company has ever had, Jim Ross had a roller coaster ride with the company during his time there, getting fired on several occasions as Vince McMahon looked for Ross's replacement. An impossible feat as there's no one like good old JR. One of Ross's firings happened during the early 2000s, and according to Ross, it blindsided him. Speaking on his Grilling JR podcast, the WWE Hall of Famer remembered, "I found out as the process went along, but in the beginning, I didn't know. I didn't know that I was that ugly or that old. I'm not buying into that bullshit. Nobody ever told me, JR, you're getting too old. They're making themselves vulnerable to an age discrimination lawsuit. It was just another bump in the road. I could have easily quit and say I'm not going to be in this wrestling business anymore. Bullshit. Getting rid of JR as the voice of Raw after all the success and years of productivity that we had, and my loyalty meant shit." Anyone familiar with Ross's time in WWE, or who has read his second memoir, Under the Black Hat, knows how much Vince McMahon has abused Ross over the years, disregarding his loyalty and putting him into some of the most embarrassing angles ever. Gallows and Anderson's original Impact debut would have been controversial. Although the Good Brothers made their Impact debut at the 18th July Slammiversary pay-per-view, their proposed debut was going to be downright shocking, and likely would have led to some major heat for Anderson and Gallows. According to several sites, including Heel by Nature, prior to her release from the company, Tessa Blanchard was set to work an angle with the pair. The original plan was for Gallows and Anderson to attack Blanchard during the main event of Slammiversary. The idea came directly from Gallows and Anderson and was to generate major heat. This could have been a great way to put the Good Brothers over, but Blanchard's departure from Impact made it an afterthought. Roman Reigns is ripped. While Roman Reigns is currently staying at home during the Corona-apocalypse, the big dog isn't letting himself slip into a dad body. Instead, he's been working out hard, something evident by a recent picture he shared on Instagram with the following message. Shoulders week 1, #Y3T. Seated side laterals, rep range 12 to 16. Definitely getting stronger and building muscle, but not quite where I want to be. The grind continues as I follow this fitness journey/lifestyle. Hope this finds everyone well and in good health. Shout out to Coach at Neil Yoda Hill 1. Wishing you a speedy recovery, my friend. Stay safe and God bless. The Rock was impressed by his cousin's workout and replied, "This post makes me very proud. I know that gym is wired for amazing sound, so turn some MF'n music on." As rumors persist that The Rock might lock horns with his cousin at WrestleMania 37, there's no doubt Reigns will be looking great for the People's Champion or whomever he battles when he returns to the ring. Asuka hints at Becky Lynch's return. During a recent chat with reporters, current Raw Women's Champion Asuka was asked about the previous champion Becky Lynch and whether the man would get an immediate title shot when she returns. Although Asuka didn't go into details on when Lynch will return, she said Becky will get an immediate rematch. As for whether Lynch will be ready for her, Asuka speculated she doesn't know if she will be a tough opponent or not, due to Becky's ring rust from what the Empress of Tomorrow referred to as Becky's little vacation. Spoilers for Extreme Rules? If you're planning on watching the horror show at Extreme Rules, don't watch this next segment, as Wrestlelamia has possible spoilers for the event's Wyatt Swamp fight. In an exclusive report, Wrestling Inc.'s Raj Giri revealed, filming lasted between 6 and 7 hours. Multiple takes were done to get various angles needed for editing purposes, so the same parts were done multiple times like in a movie to get all the angles. The match will probably be edited down to approximately a 20 to 30 minute match. We were told that several reptiles were used for filming the segment, including an alligator and a snake. For the finish, we were told that it's something like Jason from Friday the 13th, and a horror movie where someone is taken away or disappears. That person will return to continue this feud. Vince McMahon was reportedly not present for the filming, so it should be interesting how the match plays out. AJ Styles was mad when WrestleMania moved to the Performance Center. While AJ Styles' Boneyard match against The Undertaker has been critically acclaimed, Styles was apparently none too happy when he learned WrestleMania was being moved from the Raymond James Stadium in Tampa to the WWE Performance Center. According to AJ's friend Luke Gallows, but think of the disappointment of a guy like that. He hasn't had a long tenure in WWE, he came in his prime and did all the things we were saying, and he's facing a guy who he thinks is in the twilight of his career. Let me go out and not carry him, but let me give him a hell of a match that some guys couldn't give him, and there's gonna be no crowd reaction. Like, we had 1 or 2 matches without the crowd and we were like, fuck man, that was like being back in wrestling school. It was brutal. Styles and Taker would have been a fantastic match in front of a crowd, but the case can be made that the Boneyard match allowed WWE to hide Taker's age-related weaknesses, whereas a match in front of fans might not have. While there were no fans present, this was still a fantastic send-off for the Phenom. Styles has said in recent interviews that he'd like to wrestle Taker one more time with a crowd present, but at this point, the Phenom appears retired. Well guys, there you have it, the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know in wrestling. What did you think of these stories and rumors? Be sure to leave your comments and don't forget to subscribe to our channel, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time for some more wrestling content.